Oh man, here I am. It is Jamba, and I'm back with another video. I'm well fed. I just had some I just had some in and out, you know what I'm saying? A nice little protein style. I don't do buns. The gluten and all that. I was disappointed because I didn't get ketchup. I forgot the damn ketchup, y'all. So I had to eat dry in and Out fries. And I'll be honest, I used to be a defender of the In and Out fries. Eating them without ketchup, not great. So, what are we talking about today? We are talking about Ebony K Williams. She did a segment on this little thing called Listen to Black Women. I've never heard of Listen to Black Women before, but I'm excited to listen to Black women, right? Okay. So who is Ebony K Williams? Ebony K Williams, let me pull up her bio. She is an American lawyer and television host. She hosts State of Culture on Revolt TV. She's done some stuff for Fox News and Real Housewives of New York City. So recently, let me go back to my screen here. So recently, Ebony K Williams has talked quite a bit about the relationships and the dynamics and all that between Black men and Black women. Ebony K. Williams, to my knowledge, is a single woman, a single woman. I think that she's trying to get, in virtual fertilization for kids or something like that. She's trying to do the whole pregnancy surrogate something. She's not going about the whole motherhood thing in the traditional route, which is, fine, especially if she has the resources. But she's talked. She was the one who went viral when she was talking to what's that old? There was what's that old something Ayana. Her and Ayana Van Sant were on a interview together, and Ayana asked Ebony K Williams if she would date a guy who was a bus driver, and Ebony said if he owned the bus, right? So she got a lot of flack from people about that. I'm not going to get into that clip specifically because we got this clip that we're watching. This is a 16-minute clip, y'all. Ooh, this is going to be a long one. So without further ado, let's get into this. Y'all ready?
False men, they do not desire a financial or an intellectual equal. They are not attracted to it. It is a turn off. The pee goes, burr, burr, burr. It does. I'm telling y'all the truth. They did not go to law school, L'Oreal, so they could end up with a peer.
Welcome to Listen to Black Women. I'm L'Oreal.
So that's just a little preview. What am I looking? I'm sorry, I thought this was Listen to Black Women, not listen to Simpson looking people. I'm sorry. I got light skinned people in my family. I'm gonna make fun of you. I try to make fun of everybody so that no one feels unincluded. This lady looks like a character from The Simpsons. I mean, it's not just necessarily that she's light skinned, it's also like the makeup included in that, and then the hair on top. I'm not trying to look, I promise you, I'm not trying to make fun. I was a little bit off put by her appearance. She looks like she's probably pretty under all of that. So let me not be a dick.
And we're here with Elle Varner.
I'm a feminine woman, and traditionally I want to play the feminine role.
Ebony K Williams.
Our show up in this world is Ebony K Williams, and no man can just hop on that.
And the beautiful Melissa Ford.
I want to preface all my answers with the fact
That's Melissa Ford. Whenever I hear Melissa Ford, my brain always goes to that song by The Game and Kanye. You'll never get far, like that song. My brain always goes there. Attractive woman. I mean, these are all pretty looking women.
fact that I am a progressive traditionalist.
And let me tell y'all something. You are in
A progressive traditionalist. You know what? Jamba, play the damn video. Okay.
for a treat of an episode because you are sitting amongst women that are always going to tell it like it is, whether they get backlash or not. So we have a lot of issues when it comes to when we want to say what we want as Black women. Right, Ebony?
Well, since you went there, yeah, it's interesting. So the past several months where I've been leading conversation
Yes.
amongst Black women and beyond, I think the main thing I've learned from this, y'all, is people really want Black women to be happy with anything. What people really want Black women to understand is that we are to be accepting of our positioning as the least desirable in society. We should get the memo that nobody really wants a Black woman. Thus, if anybody was to find themselves willing to take up with us, we should be happy, we should be grateful, and we should shut up about it. And if you are a Black woman that dares to push back on that mythology, because that's what it is, it's a damn lie from the pits of hell.
Right.
And if you were to push back on that and insist upon a value system, insist upon a criteria, insist upon just a standard into which we want to operate romantically, we are demonized.
Yes.
She's saying a whole lot, and I was trying to find a good point to stop. I'm trying to assess whether what she's saying is true. I have heard this whole notion that Black women are the least desired. I never understood why that was, regardless if it's true or not. I never understood why that was necessarily important, because you're not trying to be desired by a group of people or be desired by segments of people. Wouldn't you just want to be desired by the person that you are in a relationship with? You know what I mean? It's all, don't you want to just get one? You don't have to be desirable to a large metric of men. It just needs to be that man specifically. And I also kind of, especially like any of these women, it's kind of like, you can't tell me that any of these women have not had plenty of guys who found them to be desirable. So I just don't understand why that's a thing. But let's continue. I'm into this. And when I'm saying into this, I'm really trying to kind of dig in here and not necessarily jump to conclusions. You feel me?
We are, we are seen as ungrateful, and eventually we become the ungrateful, angry Black woman. And I personally won't have it.
Every single time.
Yeah.
And you know what was really disgusting to me? You got a lot of
correct me if I'm wrong. Tell me in the comments. I think this
backlash. And then
the Simpsons girl, I'm gonna call her the Marge Simpson. This girl, I think, I could be wrong. I think this is the same girl who went to oh dang, my phone is ringing. Hold on, give me 1 second. I'm gonna pause it. And I'm back. Okay, I had a long conversation with my sister. She was calling me about some family news. So be patient with me. Okay, what were we talking about? Okay, Ebony K Williams was talking about, she said a lot about Black women and all that. So hold on a second. Let me rewind. Let's rewind.
Push back on that and insist upon a value system, insist upon a criteria, insist upon just a standard into which we want to operate romantically. We are demonized.
yes.
We are, we are seen as ungrateful, and eventually we become the ungrateful, angry Black woman. And I personally won't have it.
Every single time.
Yeah.
And you know what was really disgusting to me? You got a lot of backlash. And then I believe it was Tyler Perry who came on the flip side and basically said that we need to start looking at men that don't make as much, or the stay-at-home dads, and can.
I remember this. I remember there's like a lot of backstory to this, which is okay. So Tyler Perry was talking with, I think, Oprah. He was talking to somebody, and Tyler Perry mentioned that Black women should, or basically gave the advice that Black women should date men who don't make as much money, because basically it's like, well, if they don't make enough money to cover the bills, maybe they can make enough to cover the light bill or the water bill or something like that, because these men are still good men and they shouldn't be overlooked. Basically kind of going off of this whole notion that Black women on average make more than Black men, when in actuality that's actually not true. Tyler Perry was going off of, I'm not sure exactly what he was going off of, but actually Black men, if you look at the median earnings of a Black man on average versus the median earnings of a Black woman, you can blame patriarchy, whatever you want to kind of, male privilege or whatever, but Black men actually do make more on average than Black women. I think that this the reason why some people might believe that it's the other way around is because Black women are more educated, and maybe come out with more degrees than Black men. But dollar for dollar, just Black men still actually do make more, right? So Tyler Perry was going off of something that wasn't really true. But yeah, so that's what she's referencing again. So much backstory.
Considering them.
I think his exact thing was, I mean, if he can contribute to, the light bill, then
The light bill.
the light bill, but
That's what he said.
but he makes you happy in all other areas.
I think this is the example of what Ebony K Williams was saying about how Black women should just be happy with the bare minimum, or just be happy with quote unquote anything, right? But let's see what Miss Ford has to say.
Areas, then I mean, and he met you at your worth. I thought he'd actually said he met you at your worst.
Worst.
I was like, wait, what are we even saying?
Crazy.
What is this story that we're being force fed? It's
Yeah.
gross.
And they were applauding him.
I was just like, this is, first of all, Tyler Perry makes movies where the bus driver looks like Boris Kojo. And in that case, bring him on. Every single.
Now here's where I have a problem. Let's keep playing a little bit.
woman would be like, girl, I'm dating a bus driver. Oh my God.
So here's the issue with this, right? Here's the issue. Y'all were tripping. And look, I know I'm not original. I'm pretty sure that there's going to be other Black men watching this who are probably going to have the same exact thought, because a lot of people are applauding and laughing, and they're laughing because what she's saying is based in reality. Now listen to what she just said. If the bus driver, because she's referring to my favorite Tyler Perry movie, ironically, which is Medea's Family Reunion, and in that movie, Boris Kodjoe, this is like back in like 2005 or so. And in that movie, Boris Kodjoe actually plays a bus driver, and he's trying to date this single mother who used to be in an abusive relationship. And it's like this whole thing, and they get together, blah, 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 blah. Right? The reason why I think this is funny, I'm not going to say it's problematic, but I guess it is for their argument, because it's kind of like, well, you wouldn't be okay with dating a bus driver unless he looks like Boris Kodjoe. So it's kind of like, well, is it, so you're actually are cool with dating men and dealing with guys who don't make a lot of money as long as he's fine. So you're kind of, Melissa Ford and the people who are kind of like laughing at this because it's true. It's kind of like you're setting up I don't want to say a double standard, but I guess it is, where it's like, okay, if you look good enough, then yes, it's cool if you're working a blue collar everyday bus driver. You can be a barista at Starbucks if you look like you're yourself, blah, 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 blah. And that's cool. We can rock with that. But if you don't look like that, then you definitely do need to be making more. You need to be earning six figures, X, Y, and Z, right? So it's kind of like, this is where you're starting to lose I would say you're starting to lose me a little bit, is because it's like, is it important for a man to provide, or is it not? Or is it only important for a man to be able to provide? Because when they're saying bus driver is basically synonymous with guys who don't make a lot of money, guys who may work hard, but aren't, making six figures. These are guys who are not, earning the big bucks. That's all bus driver is the equivalent to in this case, right? So if you guys are kind of saying that it's okay if you're not making a lot of money as long as you're fine, then it's kind of no wonder why some Black women may find themselves in certain romantic predicaments, is because if a guy is exceeding in this sex appeal area, which I'm not saying is a bad thing, that because everyone wants a person who is attractive, but then the other stuff that you deem important, he doesn't have to be making six figures. But if he was a regular looking guy, then that's what it's I'm gonna use y'all lingo. That's what it's giving, right? But let's continue.
Honestly, you know what I'm saying? So yes, that's a factor. And it's like, I kind of feel like it was a gotcha moment with you.
Yeah.
Because it was just like, why throw bus driver at you?
Here's the thing about what Tyler's suggesting, right? The subtext is going back to what we just talked about. Your worth is minimal.
Mhm.
So if you are willing to accept minimal contribution to your household, a la a light bill,
Mhm.
that is equivalent to your value in society. That's the subtext there that no one's saying out loud.
But the problem with that is you're willing to accept the minimum or whatever. You're willing to accept that if he looks like Boris Cujo. I didn't say it. Melissa Ford did. She joked about it. Y'all laughing because let me rewind. Watch when she says the Boris Cujo bit.
Tyler Perry makes movies where the bus driver looks like Boris Kojo. And in that case, bring him on. Every single woman would be like, girl, I'm dating a bus driver. Oh, you want to see him? You know?
And that's the one thing I love about humor. Humor is the reason why we find stuff funny is because it's rooted in truth. So you can't really make a joke about something and then say, oh, I'm just playing, I'm just playing. Yeah, you might have been playing, but it's rooted in some reality. So this whole accepting less, you're gonna use the bus driver because yes, the bus driver thing was pointed, and that was when Ayanna Van Sant brought that up, the whole bus driver thing, to symbolize a hardworking guy who doesn't make a lot of money. You guys are cool with that. That's kind of like the thing is that you guys are kind of losing me with the whole integrity of it, right?
Tyler's suggesting, right? The subtext is going back to what we just talked about. Your worth is minimal. So if you are willing to accept minimal contribution to your household, a la a light bill, that is equivalent to your value in society. That's the subtext there that no one's saying out loud.
But but the other subtext.
That's not the sub. I don't think that's necessarily the subtext. And I will say I don't agree with Tyler Perry's assertion that, hey, as long as he, pays a light bill or whatever. I don't necessarily agree with that. I do think as a man, you should try to be the best provider that you can be, and I think that you can do more than just a light bill. You know what I mean? I mean, if you at least working 40, 50 or however many hours a week, doing something. You can definitely contribute more than that, in my opinion. But I don't think that no one is trying to say that these women, because they're black or whatever, should accept less. I think that y'all are willing to accept less depending upon the physical traits that these men have, and that's what Melissa Ford, whether she knew it or not, kind of exposed earlier.
Text in there is the assumption that Black women's only option is to date Black men.
Oh, well.
The conversation really
Okay, now.
never gets examined as to the other options that Black women have.
Right.
You know, and listen, I understand wanting to be race loyal. I understand wanting to, if you're a Black woman, you want to marry a Black man, you want to have Black children. I totally get it. But the reality of the situation is that I feel like, and I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody, I feel like Black men don't really want to have the conversation that Black women actually do have more options that are available to them than are ever kind of proposed.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, no, and my shout out to my sister. She's actually dating someone right now. He is a black dude. I didn't think she was going to date black. I was, my bet was on an Asian or like some corn-fed white boy. But that being said, I definitely do advocate for Black women to expand their options. I will be a hypocrite as somebody who's dated other demographics of women, and I think that it's a Black woman should never be shamed or feel obligated to only date Black men if she's open and willing. I think there's a lot more important things. This is where I lose a lot of the pro Blacks. Are y'all able to see me? I only got one light on in the house. Okay. This is where I lose some of the pro Blacks because I think that as long as a person has similar values, whether that's religious values or maybe certain cultural, maybe not cultural values, because that does have to do with race, but there's other things and principles that you can have in common with. I think that it's, if you're a Black woman and you find a white guy who works hard, loves you, and y'all get along, you guys have a similar way in which you guys want to raise your kids, then freaking so be it. Go on ahead, get your swirl on. I'm not tripping. Now, I'm not gonna dig into it on this video. I don't think this is the time, but I do think that Black women have different standards for white men than they do for Black men. That I have seen in person with these two eyes. It is a thing. I don't want to dig into it here, but and I think I don't know if they do that on purpose. Um, I'm not saying it's a problem, but I am saying it. I am saying that it is something that I definitely have noticed. But let's continue. And when is this girl gonna say something? You just sitting here, say something.
Yes, black men, sure, it might be a little bit more difficult, but if you are willing to date outside your race, the options open up. And the
But I
They
also
cultural
think
do,
it's
but
'cause
wait,
we
I have
go
to
so
give
hard.
I have to give a
Yeah.
caveat for this
Mhm.
because I don't want to make any presumptions. As somebody who has been very open and transparent about my dating.
Oh, I believe that Ebony K. Williams was at one point either married to a white guy or was in a relationship with a white guy. Just for a little bit of context.
Within and beyond black men, I just want to say that's not necessarily the savior complex that people think. Unfortunately, because I think when I have this conversation with black women who have never dated outside of black men,
Mhm.
they often have a romanticized fantasy ideal about what that is. Kind of,
Yeah, they think that white man is gonna just sweep them off their feet. They think that white man is gonna be that Prince Charming. They think that white man is gonna treat them like they like I don't know, like I was trying to name some Hugh Grant motherfucker. Like they a lot of y'all black women, when y'all have only dated black dudes, y'all looking over to Springfield, y'all looking over to like to Pleasantville, and y'all think that them white boys, y'all think some of y'all black women, some of y'all think that them white boys ain't players. Some of y'all think them white boys ain't gonna cheat. Some of y'all think them white boys ain't gonna hit you. Some of y'all think them white boys ain't gonna curse you out. Some of y'all think them white and mind you, I like white people, I like black people, I like everybody, and I hate everybody at the same time. But them white boys ain't always the answer. Just like how for black men, them white girls ain't the answer. Jonathan Majors. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we can always look on the other side of the fence, always look at, okay, what's going on over there in Whiteville, as if, you gonna get something different. And it's a lot of it is just a bullshit in the different shade. It's just a different shade of bullshit over there. So black women, you know what? I think you should open up your options, whether it's white, Latino, Samoan, something, but it's don't act like a man is a man is a man is a man. So I will grant Ebony K. Williams that she is definitely right on that.
like non-black men will save us, and I don't know,
No,
straight to
that
Cam.
is not.
And I know that's not what you're
Yeah,
saying,
yeah.
right? But I do think like that was in the comments,
Yeah.
right? Of kind of my bus driver gate. Well, sis, what they need to know is you can date non-black men, and you will still have many of the same perils
Yeah.
because there are differences culturally, but men are men. And when it comes down to misogyny and default presumptions of feminine worth and value, some of those things control cross culturally.
Yeah.
I only know it from experience.
But I will say some
Yeah.
of the women that I know that have dated outside of their race, I do not. I only date black men.
Mhm.
But they will try to convince me that it is better. And maybe that's why we have that idea that it is romanticized, because it's like, oh, girl, you need to get you an Italian man because they know how to worship us. They know how to treat us better. Okay, so.
I'm sorry, but this Simpsons girl, I think her name was Lower Yelly. What? Don't be a dick. I'm gonna be a dick. Her face and her hands are of like a different shade, and it distracts me a little bit. I wish that she had made a little bit more effort to make her face and her hands the same shade of yellow or whatever her skin tone is.
So when it comes to that, do you feel like people throw that in your face as well? Because when you see a black man that's dating a white woman, it's kind of just like, okay, the athletes, oh, they all got them a white woman, and that's fine.
We're always looking at one thing that sucks about being a black man. One of the things is we always got to go to the athletes. We always got to go to the athletes. The pinnacle, I believe, and I think oftentimes women always kind of look at the pinnacle. So it's like if they see Michael B. Jordan, if they see Idris Elba, if they see Tay Diggs dating a white woman, and they see or an athlete or enough of these guys dating white women, then all of a sudden, oh, y'all black men, y'all date white women. But it's like the vast majority of black men only date and only deal with black women. White boys are rarely ever just compared to talking about the white athletes. it's just not really. I just don't think they have these conversations like that about other races of men. With us, it always kind of goes to entertainment. It goes to athletes. It's just kind of a thing.
A whole movement called passport bros.
This is what I mean.
Oh
What
God.
I mean, it goes to Ebony's point
Yes.
about Black women being fed the narrative that you got to take what you can get, that you're the
Yes.
lowest on the totem pole in terms of attractiveness.
The passport bros, no, the passport bros is not necessarily about that's more so about men who don't want to date women in America, because more times than not, the women in America don't really want those guys, or maybe they give those guys a hard time. Like when I'm saying a hard time, not like a hard time like sleeping with, but more so just they just don't feel like they're compatible with the women here in the States. So they feel like they feel inclined that they should kind of take their resources and take some time or whatever and travel to different parts of the world in order to meet women who more so fit what they're looking for. But I don't think it has to do with. I'm trying to figure out like where she. Let me rewind this a little bit. I'm gonna rewind just a bit.
Okay, the athletes, they all got them a white woman, and that's fine.
There's a whole movement called passport bros.
This is what I
Yeah, passport. Yeah, okay, there you go. Passport bros has nothing to do with Black men trying to get with white women. Most of these passport bros guys are not guys. They're not trying to go to Eastern Europe to meet women. They're not. It's mainly about. It's I guess you could say maybe non-Black women, but I know quite a few dudes who adhere to the whole passport bros thing that are also trying to go for Black women of other countries. So I don't think that's about trying to get with a white girl.
I mean.
Oh God.
I mean, it goes to Ebony's point
Yes.
about Black women being fed the narrative that you got to take what you can get, that you're the
Yes.
lowest on the totem pole in terms of attractiveness,
Mhm.
and that Black men are actively saying, I do not want a Black woman. I am going to go to another country to
Yeah.
find another, ethnicity or race of woman because I deem them to be more attractive. I
Yes.
deem them to have more.
Because if they wanted to date another group of women, they would. It's not a race. It's not like a color thing. It's not like they want to get white women because there's plenty of white women in the States. There's plenty of Asian women in the States or Hispanic. It's that's more so of a culture, like a Western versus wherever else. Like third world, Colombia, Dominican Republic. I don't know. Ask a passport, bro. I'm not gonna speak on their behalf.
More traditional values, bow to me,
Submissive.
and,
But
Be-
find
be
them to do
submissive,
what
whatever.
though?
To
It's
marry
like-
them.
There
Visible.
shouldn't be no reason why you can't say, I don't want to date a bus driver. You know why? You're a lawyer. You did your
Unless he's Boris Cujo.
education. You've done your work. You've been on television. You're still on television. And you probably don't want that kind of man. And that's okay.
And I don't think that man wants me, lawyer. That's the
That's-
other part of the
where you gonna meet
conversation.
him?
No, I'm not saying that, but that man does not want me. Melissa, can you speak to that?
I've had
That might be projection. I don't think we should shame any woman for not wanting to date a man because of his occupation necessarily. I can shame her if let me not go back to the Boris Cujo comment. Yes, these things are true. She is a lawyer. She is on TV. These are great things. These are awesome accomplishments that anybody, regardless if they're who they are, should be proud of. But best believe, if somebody like Ebony K Williams, how she looks even now, I know she's a little older, and but I've seen pictures of her before, and there had to have been plenty of men and men of means, men with abundance of resources, men who were successful themselves, men on her level, men above her level. You can't tell me that she hasn't came across these men and dated these men and dealt with them in abundance. I'm not saying that she slept with all these guys, whatever, but she's you know what I mean? So it's kind of like at a certain point, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you as I don't want to say like the issue. I know we all have our personal journeys and what have you, but it's probably so more her than something else.
I had this exact conversation about her.
Yeah.
And I posed the question about, the CEO of Xerox. why should she have to date a bus driver? Why is this even a part of the conversation? First of all, the two of them probably have very little in common.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to do a part 2 on this one because I'm still I'm a the little timer thing only got 60 minutes per video. Why should she date a bus driver? Well, I mean, I think it's, and ladies, let me talk to you, right? Is what does a bus driver and a woman who's a CEO have in common? Well, I don't know. They could like the same movies. They could like the same music. They could have grown up in the same town. They could have the same belief systems. They can both come from big families. They can both value, nature. They could both value, working out. They could both like to dance. They could both like similar foods. Maybe they're both vegan. They could both like, they like the air conditioning on when they're sleeping, right? Maybe they both have the favorite artist. Now, obviously, from an economic standpoint, they're not at the same level because the CEO was probably used to traveling. She's able to do more with her money. She's probably maybe investing and doing real estate. And the bus driver, he probably has a budget. So from an economic standpoint, obviously one can kind of do more than the other. But there's plenty that two different people from two different economic standpoints could have in common. I think it's weird in how we always look at and ask these like silly questions, and in a CEO man, a man who's a CEO could very well find himself a woman who fuck a bus driver, a woman who's a waitress, and find plenty of things and enjoy the company of a woman who's a waitress just because she's an interesting woman to be around because she's fun and cool and funny and smart, and maybe she's going to school, maybe she's in grad school. It's I usually hear it from the women's side. If the woman is the one with the money, it's like, what do I have in common with this lowly bus driver? But a guy on the top isn't like, he's not asking, what do I have in common with this super, attractive, fun, friendly, what I'm saying, like a girl who works at Target. Like, we're not, it's just different. And I think Ebony K Williams does kind of break this down in a bit. So yeah, we got to understand the dynamics, I guess.
Not even in terms of them personally, but their lives and their lifestyles and that sort of thing. And what's called into question.
Lifestyles. Why do their lifestyles have to be the same? If they're in a relationship, then their lifestyles would have to change regardless. Your lifestyle would have to change regardless, even if you were of a similar financial place. Your lifestyles would still need to change because you're in a relationship. I mean, why? I mean, what's wrong with the bus driver's life kind of elevated because he's dating a CEO? Well, what will be the problem if the bus driver is now able to go on nice vacations, and now, what I'm saying, now he's living it up a little bit? What would be the problem with that? And actually, I would think that bus driver would probably be very grateful, and he would probably see his wife of immense value if she was able to do those things, and he's able to provide the things that he could provide to her. They don't have to be necessarily monetary. So this is what I'm saying. I mean, and this is like somebody like Melissa Ford, who says she's a progressive traditionalist, but I where's the progression, right? Was that what she said? She said some bullshit like that. Let's continue. We're gonna, in about 7 minutes, I'm probably gonna wrap this video up, and I don't want this to be too long, and I'm definitely gonna do a part 2.
When it comes to trying to date somebody who's of a different status than where you are, you're going to encounter problems that are going to result in microaggressions. Just like the fissures are going to kind of show up in the relationship, but it's going to be a lot of unsaid things.
Insecurities.
Are the okay, and this is where, and ladies, I hear often that the reason why relationships don't work or situations don't work when the woman makes more money is because a man gets insecure and then he says stuff and blah 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 blah. I haven't been in. Should I go into my shit? I'll say this: I've dated women who I'm pretty sure made more money than me. but I was usually always the one who was paying for shit. So maybe that's why. But I guess, and so I will say, I will concede that in a relationship is different. Um, but I think that if I were to give an estimate, I think that the strife and the tension and the frustration would come more so from the woman's side of things, because I have heard that often when the woman is the one who is the clear cut breadwinner of a relationship, she can, and I'm not the only person in the world to say this, but plenty of millions of so many people have said this before I have. This is not an original thought. But when the woman is making more money than the man, she often doesn't respect the man, or she treats him with less respect. This can also be exhibited in divorce rates. When the woman's making more, the higher the chance of the divorce, as opposed to when the man is making more, so.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
why? Like, listen, in a perfect world, Miss CEO of Xerox, she falls in love with a bus driver and everything works out well. But in reality, probably not.
Okay, so this might be a good time for me to cut it here, and I'm gonna do the part two. So yeah, man, this is John, but I'm feeling this video so far. You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely gonna watch some other reactions once I'm done with this one, but stay tuned for part two. I'm gonna upload part one and two like back to back. So just go to that video, click off this video, and go to that one. Like and subscribe. Damn it.